Hello, everyone. Welcome to Speak Your Truth. My name is Shantae Gilliard, and I have my auntie here. Her name is Sharon Brantley. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, like she said, my name is Sharon Brantley, and I love decorating and decor. My favorite color is blue, and I love saltwater fish, and that's kind of what I do as a hobby.
Awesome, awesome. We're here because she wants to talk about childhood hurt. And we all know we all have gone through something in our childhood. So her first question is, what occurred or what situation happened where you had to face childhood hurt?
Well, everyone, as we know, deal with some type of dysfunction in their family. Mine was no different. I had both my parents in my home, but there was some alcohol abuse there, and that, escalated different things in my life that made me sad and upset, and also caused me pain as well. But as I grew, I think as a result of that, I became very rebellious, and I did things that I wasn't supposed to do, and I found myself pregnant at an early age, and and I had an abortion, which was very devastating, and it took a great toll on me mentally and emotionally, and I carried that for years, and as time went on, I, you know, I got involved with relationships. I became very promiscuous, and I think it was from what initially started in my life, because like I said, I had an abortion, and in those days, and I don't know how they do them now, but in those days, you basically saw when the child came out.
Oh, wow.
And you could see it going through the tube into the jar, and basically everything was like right there in front of you. So it really affected me, and like I said, as I grew into a young lady, and as I grew into a young adult, just different things transpired from that hurt, because I was still carrying that. I couldn't look at babies on TV. I would just break out and cry out of the blue. I got very depressed over it. When I would see other people's babies, whether I knew them or not, I just got very, very upset, and it really, I couldn't deal with it. And I carried it for years after that. But, and a lot of things I caused on myself. Like I said, I was very promiscuous, very rebellious, in my teen years and even in my young adulthood. But I just played my life out, and I became a little destructive. And when I went to church, that's when things began to change for me.
Okay, I can, relate as well as far as, the abortion. I had an abortion when I was 19.
Okay.
Right after my first daughter was born, and that devastated me as well. So how did that affect you as a young adult, or, even as an adult? What did you go through? Like, did you ever find yourself doing drugs or drinking or anything, because that could result in it? Because mine was drinking. Because of what I did, and I didn't, honestly, at 19, I didn't know what was going on. The person just told me this is what we got to do, so I said okay. So how did that affect you as an adult?
Well, it definitely, me as well, I resorted to not drugs but alcohol. But I didn't find myself to be an alcoholic, but I would use drinking to numb the pain. And when I would drink, I became very violent, very destructive. My anger came out more as a result to the things that I had been through. And but like I said, I never did drugs. But again, like I said, I was very promiscuous with men, and that brought
it on
a lot of, like I said earlier, a lot of hurts and things like that. But I just tried to numb it and put a Band-Aid on it, and I didn't know back then. But when I look back on it now, you really can't put a Band-Aid on it. You gotta, some kind of way find some help. but I didn't, because I didn't know how. I didn't know how to find her. I didn't know how to go to somebody and talk to them. I was just dealing with it within myself.
You kept it in.
Yeah, I suppressed it, and that's really why when I got mad, I was like an eruptive volcano, because I suppressed it. So, but it was the only way I knew how to deal with it.
Yeah. And usually when you don't have anyone to talk to, you just hold it in, and then it'll come out in other ways.
Yes.
You know, it really affected me for years, and people didn't know about it for a long time. I believe this is basically my first time really opening up openly about it, because, you know, I told my best friend, you know, but I tried to hide it, but you can't hide stuff like that, and you can't forget about anything like that, especially when you have multiple children after that. So I truly understand what you have gone through. So her next question is, you know, growing up in the church, because I heard you mention church.
Yes.
How did that help you heal from that, or how did that help you grow and mature by growing up in church?
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I didn't say it. Maybe I should have said it before. I did grow up in the church, but I left God.
Okay.
And then when I came back, I just gave my life to back to the Lord, and there was a process there, you know, of healing, and I just allowed God to do what He wanted to do in my life. I didn't know what I needed in my life, but He knew what I needed in my life. He knew every pain, every hurt, every disappointment, you know, because I was even suicidal. So He took all of that, and he just took it from me, you know, as I allowed myself to grow in Him. You know, He began a healing process in me.
And you said something very important. You allowed it, because usually a lot of times when we go through stuff for so long, it's because we don't allow God to deal with us first. And, you know, things come out, you know, sometimes it comes out bad, sometimes we forget about it, sometimes it comes out good, but we really don't allow God to deal with it. You know, so my third question is, how can you help the next person deal with what you have gone through as far as childhood hurt? What advice would you give them, and where are you today?
I would say, you know, talk to someone. It's very vital that you open up to someone you feel like you can trust. I mean, whether it's a professional counseling or a close friend, just whomever you feel safe with telling your issue to. And you really have to, I would recommend that you really think about that, because sometimes when we think we can trust people, we, you know, we really can't, you know, but I would just say, pray. You know, even if you feel like you don't know how to pray, God still hears your heart, and God still knows what we think. And but I would definitely say get to someone, you know, or just ultimately just talk to God in your own way. You know, and that's what I would say about that. As far as what was the question?
Where are you today? Like, where do you stand today?
Okay, like today, like I'm saved. And I'm sanctified, and I am filled with the Holy Ghost. And I know we hear that, I'm saved, I'm sanctified, I'm filled with the Holy Ghost, but I truly am saved. I truly am sanctified, but mind you too, sanctification is ever yet a process.
Yes, it is.
And I am Holy Ghost filled, and I bless God for what He's done in my life, because it was such a transformation. You know, we think about the butterfly, that transformation, and how me personally find them very ugly. You know,
at first, because they're
you know, everyone don't, but I did. And but we look at the beautiful, I believe the word is metamorphosis, and the change that they go through, and we know, you know, God is just awesome, and God really had to take that stony, icy wall out of my heart, because after everything that I had been through, and we just don't have enough time to cover it all. But everything that I had been through, you know, God had let me know. He said, you had this stony, tall, ice wall.
I can relate.
In your heart. And you wouldn't let anybody in it, because I became so mean. And just, you know, I was just I was this not a likable person, not an
Yeah.
approachable person, but I thank God for what He's done in my life
Yeah.
because, you know, I'm allowing Him to just even still grow, and the more relationship that I had with Him, the closer I got to
Yeah.
Him, and the closer I got to Him, the walls, the icy wall came down, and my heart began to open up, and I
Yeah.
began to let different people in,
Yeah.
you know, and my life was a whole lot better for it.
Yeah.
And I was no longer that angry person,
Mhm.
you know, that suicidal person, you know, that person that regretted.
Yeah.
Although bad things happened to me, I got to the point where I no longer regretted it
Yeah.
because He took all of that
That
from
way,
me,
yeah, that's
you
good.
know. But God has a way of soothing and changing your life
Yeah.
for the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's awesome. You know, and I just want to say to you guys that no matter what you have gone through, your past is your past. Do not be ashamed of what you have done because God has already forgiven you. He already knew what you was going to do or even go through before it actually happened. So I just thank God for you sharing your story and not being ashamed, and we're able to help one another and help each other out that we can be healed
Yeah,
if we want to.
Definitely. And I also wanted to say that God had given me a revelation about a bumblebee. And I know that may sound strange to some, but He took me back to when I was a little girl, and I grew up in Washington, D.C., and we were outside double dutching one time, and this bee stung me on my arm, and I knocked the bee. Of course, that's your reaction. You knock the bee off your arm, but it had still hurt, and I couldn't understand why it was still hurt.
Yeah.
And one of the little boys there, he apparently he knew about it, and he took a pair of tweezers and he held it up in the sun, and you could see the little teeny sting that he took out of my arm. And God had reminded me of that when I was a child, and He began to administer to me from that, and He was saying, although because of the way that I made your mind, He said, you'll never forget all the pain and hurt that you've been through because of the way that I made your mind. He said, but this day, He said, I'm taking the sting out of your hurt.
Wow.
And although
awesome.
I never forgot it, and even He healed me from it, and He wanted me to tell it every time I had an opportunity to tell it. But He took the sting out of my hurt.
Wow.
So when I look at babies now, I'm okay.
Yeah.
When I look at babies now, I smile and I rejoice, or I'm happy for the mother, or just whatever the case may be. And all those other things that happened to me in my life, and it was so many things. God healed me from the inside out because He took that sting
out. Wow.
So I praise God for that revelation, and I'm going to always carry it with me to even help others as well.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that revelation because it's helping me right now because I'm going through some stuff right now, but God's still taking the sting out, and I just thank Him for it because I still have my joy, I still have my peace because of Him. So we just thank God for my auntie with her beautiful afro. I could talk to her about anything and never hear it anywhere else. So I just thank God for you just coming on Speak Your Truth. And I hope you guys tune in next Sunday at 5 o'clock live. I will tell you who the next person will be on this week. So I hope you guys enjoyed us.
Amen.
Deuces.